It was the beginning of my freshman year in college. I was one of 25 new rowers on the crew team, most of whom were novices. We worked hard, had some solid successes, and bonded in the process. An inherently grueling sport, the attrition rate on any crew team is usually high, but for us, it was abnormally so. Season after season, guys that had started with me as freshmen left the team. These fellow rowers had countless reasons for their respective departures, the most common of which was that they did not like the coach, who they began to blame for our admittedly less than stellar record. The coach's name was Rick Rickey, which I believe puts Will Mills in perspective. He was an admittedly eccentric guy. He made us push his car around the campus for training, regularly stated that his goal was to have us row so well technically that we could win New England's while all smoking cigarettes on the way down the race course. And when disappointed in us, he loved to claim that if he had 8 Tiger Woodses in a boat instead of us, he could win every race. This was pre-scandal. Regardless, if you're confused, so are we. Eccentricities aside, I respected Rick for his knowledge of the sport, his experience as a rower and a coach, and his attempts to improve us as a team. Obviously, not many of my classmates from freshman year felt the same. The result was that by the end of our junior year, there were only 2 of us from that class of 25 left. Out of these 2, I won the hard-fought election for captain my senior year. I entered my senior fall excited for the season, and about a strong crop of underclassmen that I knew were joining the team. I had rowed under the leadership of the 3 previous captains and had learned the basics. I understood what I needed to do. I was the main connection between rowers and coach. This meant regular discussions with Rick Rickey about the team, rowing technique, or life. Throughout the year, I organized the team at practices, at races, during our off-season, organized social gatherings and clothing orders, all as had been done every year before. Come our main season in the spring, I continued to lead by example, always pushing myself beyond what I had done before. I think that in most people's eyes, I succeeded as captain. I had met expectations. When I graduated, I agreed with this conclusion. I had loved my experience on the team, enjoyed the company of my teammates, and felt like I had learned some valuable life lessons, even if we had mediocre seasons, one after another. 2 years after graduation, when I became a coach myself, this perspective changed. At this moment, I recalled one of many conversations that I had with Rick Rickey, which for some reason had not registered the first time around. Rick had called me into his office. He had told me the story of a captain from the 1994 team, a team that won New England's and produced an Olympic rower, who had pushed his teammates harder than they had ever been pushed before. This captain had required that the team run to and from practice, a hilly endeavor to say the least, to complete off-the-water training sessions after punishing practices on the water, and to push themselves generally on a daily basis beyond exhaustion. I had not gotten Rick Rickey's message for the first time, that first time, but 2 years later it was clear as day. He was telling me that the 1994 captain had exceeded expectations. The secondary conclusion here was also obvious. I had not. Think about it. How many people in our society, or any society for that matter, are esteemed for just meeting expectations? Abraham Lincoln, Ernest Green, Steve Jobs, the veterans that we honored last week. What do all these people have in common? Besides being exceptional at what they did, each of them left whatever group they were a part of better than they found it. Whether it was the unity of the United States, race relations in the American South, or the little electronic device in your pocket right now. Other people were better off for the efforts of these individuals and their concern for a greater good. That is not to say that everyone needs to be Abraham Lincoln to be their best selves, but each of us can have a positive and notable effect on the environment around us. By all accounts, the Connecticut College men's team, under my tutelage, performed as it had for years prior, and therefore I did meet many of the expectations out there. But by failing to exceed expectations, I had done nothing to propel the team beyond its characteristically mediocre performance. Our racing season my senior year was not better than those prior, and within a couple of years of my departure, the team had downsized to rowing smaller boats for lack of interest. Was this my fault? No, or not completely. But looking back on all this, I realized that a benchmark I should have had as a captain but did not set for myself was to leave the team better off than I had found it. We will all have missed opportunities like this one in our lives, but to learn from our failures, it is essential that we seek to be our best selves. by working not only to exceed others' expectations of us, but also our expectations of ourselves.